Welcome to PLUSone, the series where each month I look at the free games on PlayStation Plus and tell you if they're worth the download. After all, the games may be free, but your time is valuable. There are 4 games left from September's PS Plus lineup, and I'm gonna split them into 2 videos, each with a particular theme. Today's theme is puzzles, as we take a look at Sparkle 2 and Q.U.B.E Director's Cut. Both of these are obviously puzzle games, and they're both pretty short puzzle games at that. Are they worth your time and hard drive space? Let's dive right in and find out. First up is Sparkle 2, a match 3 game available on the PS4, PS3, and Vita that released back in 2014. Your goal is to stop these moving groups of orbs from reaching and falling into a hole at the end of their set path. You do this by shooting your own orbs at the chain, and matching 3 or more of one color will remove that group from the line. You can combo together your matches as well, which will increase your overall score and often spawn a power-up that might send the orbs backwards to the start of the level, or a fire shot that destroys some blocks around you, and so on. Each of the game's nearly 100 levels has some different level design, with some even having 2 different paths you have to manage at once. But it all boils down to this one mechanic. The main story mode, if you can even call it that, takes place on an adventure map, where your goal is to find all 5 keys spread across the world to uncover some sort of secret. As you progress through the game, you'll unlock new permanent power-ups, and later even new game modes entirely, such as an endless survival mode and a harder challenge mode. Again though, the core gameplay is still match 3. Having the game run faster makes it more difficult, but you're still going to be doing the same thing the entire time you're playing. That said, it's not a bad game, and it's actually pretty relaxing. In less than an hour, I made my way through about a third of the game's levels, and there's definitely a difficulty curve here as Sparkle 2 slowly builds up. There are also multiple difficulties for you to tackle, although for you trophy hunters out there, you'll have to beat the game once on each difficulty if you want to get all of the game's trophies, so I don't recommend playing this one with achievements in mind. The game's not meant to be much, and it only takes up about 200 megabytes on your hard drive. If you don't mind that, it's a fun little puzzle game to casually play until you get bored of it and move on. You can certainly tell by now whether or not this is the right game for you. I don't think you need my recommendation on this one. I do recommend you play it with your own music in the background if you do play though, because there are only like 10 songs and they get pretty repetitive pretty quickly. Next up is Q.U.B.E, a 2011 first-person puzzle game made by the small indie team at Toxic Games. The best way I can describe Q.U.B.E is less fun Portal, and I'm already not a huge fan of Portal to begin with. The similarities are clear. You are placed in this lab-like environment padded with a single shade of white around you, and you're told by a woman, this time a human one, that you must solve the puzzles ahead of you. The 2015 Director's Cut release that we're looking at here adds in these light story elements, and they're not much to write home about, explaining that you're apparently in a space station, and you have to solve all of the puzzles or else this cube will crash into the Earth. From here, there are some very light twists and turns in the narrative as you get into the darker, more decrepit sections of the cube, but the plot itself is nothing to write home about. The reason you're here is the puzzle gameplay. Each of your hands is fitted with a glove that can either raise or lower specific colored blocks. There are red blocks which just protrude out as you raise them, blue ones that act as a spring when stepped on, yellow stair pattern blocks, and later on, purple blocks that rotate part of the room 90 degrees. Your goal is to manipulate these blocks so that you can reach the door at the end of every room and work your way through the game's 7 sections. These puzzles aren't bad by any means, and they get pretty fun later on in the adventure. However, at least for me, they're never particularly hard even as you reach the game's final levels. There might be a couple where I was stuck for more than a minute or 2, but usually these were due to having to deal with the game's physics engine. See, some of these puzzles require you to send balls into a set end zone, and sometimes these balls don't like to play well. I had a few instances where I did the same exact thing 2 or 3 times, and the exact same ball reacted differently each time. Usually not the way that would help me move past the room either. With how quickly I made my way through Q.U.B.E, I was sure there had to be some more levels that I wasn't being told about by the end of the story, but nope, there are only 7 sections. With a few hidden levels in the story mode and some speedrun levels that do help spice the gameplay up as well. I didn't have too much of an urge to keep playing though, as after about an hour, again, I was nearly done with the game. It lasts probably as long as it should, because anything longer and it would probably start to get boring. Even as it stands now, the puzzles were easy enough for the majority of the game that I was never really enthralled by it. Q.U.B.E will take up about 2 gigs on your hard drive, so it's also not a big game that's going to eat up some of your memory. If you enjoyed the kind of game that Portal was and have always wanted more, Q.U.B.E is a solid enough surrogate. Again though, I wouldn't go out of my way to play it if the gameplay you've seen here hasn't caught your interest already. If you're watching this video after these games have come off of PS Plus, Sparkle regularly goes for $8 and Q.U.B.E for $10. Even right now, Q.U.B.E is on sale for $4 though, so in both cases I would absolutely wait for a sale if you decide you do want to buy them. With all that said, thanks for watching. If this video helped you make a decision, make sure you hit the like button, and while you're down there, let me know what some of your favorite puzzle games are in the comments down below. Personally, I'll always have a soft spot for Braid. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed for more game reviews, PLUSone videos, and much, much more.